Hey everybody, welcome back to FSi DFS. Hope you're all having a wonderful week as we head into July. Nice 11-game slate here. Good to be back with only 3 games on Monday. MLB wanted to rest a lot of teams so that everybody would play on that July 4th Thursday date. But right now, 11-game slate. Let's just break it down, talk about all the pitchers. I have the sheet. We'll pull that up here in a second. But yeah, in this high salary tier, Grayson Rodriguez, he's going to be the most popular pitcher on the board. He's my favorite pitcher on the board. He's a right-handed thrower facing off against Seattle. Seattle, we know this by now. And if you're new to MLB DFS this season, Seattle strikes out a ton. Pitchers seemingly just have their best game against Seattle in terms of strikeout rate every single time they face off against Seattle. So Grayson Rodriguez, number one. Don't really have to say too much about that. Certainly an impossibility of getting 8 to 10 strikeouts in this matchup. After that, I like all 4 of these guys, to be completely honest. Like, there's nobody that's in the fade category or hesitation category. Screwball is absolutely dominant. Like, arguably one of the better pitchers in all of baseball, maybe the best pitcher in the American League. But he's facing off against Minnesota, and Minnesota is just a fantastic offense recently. Dylan Cease, he's definitely got the upside. Texas, like, their bats can't seem to figure it out this season at all. Not really sure what's going on with them, but it's not good. Luis Gil, he's got the upside. Lopez, he's got the floor. So if I did rank them after that, I went with Gil with the ceiling game that he could have. Gil's going to be facing off against Cincinnati. Cincinnati, they got injuries to their lineup. It's getting a lot better. It's getting a lot better than what it was about a week ago. And Gil, he is really struggled in his past 2 starts, but I'm going to get a little bit of a slide. He faced off against Baltimore, and he faced off against the red-hot Mets, who seem to just be having, 7, 8, 9+ runs every single game at this point. So I'm going to get a little bit of leeway with that, but he's definitely got that ceiling and that strikeout capability. But I also do think that Cincinnati's a really intriguing GPP play. If it does appear that he's going to be getting some ownership to him. Lopez for Atlanta, he's just got the floor. Essentially, he goes out there, he gets you 20 to 25 DK points, and he leaves. It's just what he does. And is it great for DFS? Yeah. Is it great for tournaments? Not so much. You really want a little bit more upside, especially when you're going to be paying that 9.6 salary price tag. I will say he's a great pivot if you don't want to eat the ultra chalk with Rodriguez. Just pivot off to Lopez because, like I said, Lopez, he's going to be out there. He's capable of getting you 25 DK points. But getting above that, it is rarity, except in those really favorable matchups. After that, we're going to go with Screwball and we're going to go with Cease. But honestly, like, ranking Cease as like the 5th guy in the salary tier still doesn't feel right. But I really like all of them. I could totally understand people putting Cease second or Screwball second or Gil 5th. Like, I would 100% listen to that. But the only guarantee is that Rodriguez, he's the number 1 for me in this high salary tier, but I have a lot of interest in all 5 of these guys. Into the mid tier, I really don't like this tier. You can see my little note here. I just want to emphasize that because it is the one downfall I feel with this sheet, and I make this sheet like I'm noticing flaws in it. Is that, like, yeah, they're my favorite in this salary tier, but I mean I would still take Cease over anybody in this mid tier. So Kirby, probably my favorite. He's just got a brutal matchup facing off against Baltimore. But I do like, compared to the rest of the guys in this mid-tier, nice strikeout rate, very, very low walk rate. Like, that's what Kirby is known for. And so I think he might be my number 1, but again, it's pretty iffy. Singer, he's got some rain threats that are going to be facing off against him. In that Kansas City game, Eovaldi against San Diego. Eovaldi's more of like that workhorse pitcher, that we've seen for many years at this point in time, but he goes out there, he's going to be pitching 100 pitches, but he's facing off against San Diego, who just does not strike out a whole lot at all. Eovaldi's strikeout rate has plummeted compared to last season, and San Diego, they're a team that doesn't really strike out too much. So do I want to pay 8.9K for him when I can just go 500 more and get Rodriguez, or 700 more and get Lopez? No, not really. But is he fine? Is he okay if you really want to, build 20, 100 lineups? Yeah, absolutely. Like, he's not a fade by any means. I just don't think that, given the salary price point that he's at, given the matchup and what else is around him, I just don't have a whole lot of interest in him here. Bobby Miller, facing off against Arizona. He's probably got the best matchup of the bunch, but still, there are certainly hesitations with him. Remember, he was on the IL for an absurd amount of time. He's come back. The walk rate hasn't improved at all. He's still not going above 80 pitches, so it's quite concerning there. I mean, you could see he struggled against Colorado and the White Sox. Not good. Yeah, this one was in Coors, but still, not good. So Miller, he's over there in the 150 max, and we got Berrios kind of rounding things out. But again, just this mid-tier, not really interested in at all. Going over into the cheap category, Soriano, and if he wasn't on a possibility of a pitch count, he hasn't pitched since June 12th, so it's been about 3 weeks at this point in time, and I don't think he's had any rehab starts. But he might be on a pitch count, might not be. Yeah, like, it doesn't look like he even did much other than just like some bullpen sessions and everything. But yeah, he hasn't pitched since June 12th. If he was not on a pitch count, I would have so much interest in him. He would be my favorite cheap salary pitcher. However, if he's only going to be going out and getting 60 pitches, 70 pitches, I don't think it's tough to have him be my favorite pitcher. Birdsong, brutal matchup facing off against Atlanta, but like, is it a brutal matchup? Like, on paper, yes, but Atlanta, the offense just has not come to fruition so far this season. Birdsong, pounding the strike zone, great strikeout rate. However, at the same time, he's a little erratic with his control. So Atlanta is the GPP, gonna have some interest in them there, but not Philadelphia and the Cubs right behind them, just because it's a wind game in Wrigley. I can't remember if I said that or not. It's a wind game in Wrigley. Winds are blowing out. Going to have interest in those teams. Spence and then Wood Richardson. Again, is this super exciting in this cheap tier? No, not really. I think in cash, I almost want to just pay up for double pitcher. But if you don't, I could definitely see Wood Richardson probably being the go-to cheap guy. Facing off against Detroit, it's a great matchup, honestly. Like, Detroit's got Riley Green, but just don't pitch to Riley Green, because who else do you have? Right? Like, there's nobody else in this Detroit lineup that's really scary or should be scaring you really at all. Wood Richardson, he goes out there, he's going to get you 15 DK points. We'll say he does allow a lot of hard contact. It is quite concerning, but still, I think that Wood Richardson would be my favorite down in this salary range. But am I excited about it? No, not really. Everybody else, just no interest, really. And yeah, so heading towards the bats, we got Coors Field on the board. I don't really have to say anything more than that. It's Coors Field against two weaker pitchers. Awesome. Dodgers and the Yankees, and I think like a bigger gap, and then Houston. But Dodgers and the Yankees. Dodgers facing off against Arizona and Nelson. I say it every time he's on the slate. Like, Nelson just allows a lot of hard contact, and he gets hit hard. Salary-wise, the Dodgers are very comparable to Coors Field. So I definitely am going to see a lot of ownership flocking towards Coors Field. Maybe we don't even get a lineup out for the Dodgers because they're the super late game of the day, and maybe they even see more reduced ownership because of that. So if that is the case, definitely going to have a lot more interest in the Dodgers bats. I don't care about lefties or righty, bats against Nelson. I'm taking them all just because he allows so much hard contact. After that, we're going to go with the Yankees facing off against Cincinnati. The Yankees, their offense is awesome. Facing off against Ashcraft. Ashcraft can't strike anybody out. So having an issue with striking guys out, facing off against the Yankees, does not correlate very well at all. So I'm going to have interest in them. Ashcraft, I will say, Ashcraft does allow limited contact. He doesn't allow a lot of super hard contact. I will give that to him. But still, when you're not able to strike anybody out, you got this Yankees lineup that is just absolutely terrifying, and also very, very affordable. You got Judge, you got Soto. After that, Volpe at 4.5, and then you're down to the 3.7K salary tier. So could be a nice GPP play as well in terms of just like max stacking them and even getting maybe even a high salary pitcher or 2 high salary pitchers on the board. You're not going to get Judge and Soto if you do double high pitcher, but you can certainly still get a big Yankee stack. Going over to the GPP, Atlanta, like I mentioned with Birdsong, he does allow a lot of walks or has, some erratic pitches. We'll just say that. So Atlanta, I think, is going to be a really intriguing GPP play just because they have burned so many people. I think a lot of people are just kind of scared to touch them at this point in time. Philadelphia and the Cubs, they are playing in a wind game in Wrigley. Wind is going to be blowing out. I think the temperature was around 80 degrees. Wind's blowing out around 15. So going to have some interest in them, or quite a bit of interest in them. Philadelphia, they've got the injury bug though. Harper, he's out. I think, Schwarber, Schwarber, he's out. Real Muto's out. So it really does kind of nuke some of their power left-handed bats for sure with these guys. But still, I'm going to have a whole lot of interest in Philadelphia just because it's a win game in Wrigley. And then over into the cheap tier, Angels, Oakland. It's iffy. There's nobody that I'm just like, yeah, we love them. But I think like maybe some one-offs amongst these teams is the way to go. So this is kind of where the slate breaks down. Hopefully this was helpful in kind of guiding you in the correct direction. So thank you, as always, for watching these videos. Really do appreciate it. And we will be back for Wednesday tomorrow.